This shouldn't be one category, not philosophically, not mechanically, honestly, not even legally. And yet, here we are. Two new Autocycles just showed up. One is trying to make charging obsolete, and the other feels like it was designed during a caffeine overdose and signed off with a shrug. Come on, T-Rex and Autocycle family, let's talk about it. This is why the Autocycle world is so different, because anywhere else, these would never be mentioned in the same sentence. And here they are. Basically, neighbors. Let's start with the calm one, or at least the one that looks calm. Aptera Motors is building something that feels less like a car and more like a loophole in physics. 3 wheels, hyper aerodynamic shape, and a design that looks like it was optimized in a wind tunnel and then optimized again, just to be sure. The whole idea here is simple. Use so little energy that energy stops being a problem, which sounds reasonable until you look at the numbers. A drag coefficient of 0.13. That's not just good for a car. That's like, did you accidentally build an F-14 Tomcat territory? Then there's the solar. Up to roughly 700 watts of solar cells built directly into the body, which means in the right conditions, you're getting 20 to 40 miles of range per day by doing absolutely nothing. No cables, no stations, just parking correctly. And I think it's the first vehicle where shade is now a logistical error. And if you do decide to plug it in, range options go up to around 1,000 miles, which is less daily driver and more soft commitment to never stopping. But what's interesting is not just the efficiency, it's the mindset shift. Most vehicles are built around abundance, more power, more weight, more everything. This is the opposite. It's focused, it's deliberate, almost aggressively minimal. It doesn't try to impress you. It just quietly makes everything else feel wasteful. And then we turn around and we see what Ryan Motors is doing. And any sense of calm immediately leaves the building. The FP3 is not subtle. It's 1,140 pounds, 210 horsepower, and 0 to 60 in about 3 seconds. Powered by a Suzuki Hayabusa engine, which, to be fair, has never been accused of restraint. And then they put you dead center. Single-seat cockpit, F1 style layout, no distractions, no passengers, no one to blame. This isn't a vehicle, it's a decision. Because at that weight, with that power, things don't build speed. They just arrive at it immediately. There's no buffer here, no gentle ramp up, just input and consequence, and very fast consequence at that. It's the kind of machine that assumes you know what you're doing, and if you don't, it's about to become a learning experience, and probably a short one. And this is where the contrast gets almost ridiculous. On one side, you have a vehicle quietly sipping sunlight, stretching every watt like it's trying to prove a point. And then on the other, you've got something that would probably treat tire life as a suggestion. Efficiency versus intensity, optimization versus adrenaline, careful planning versus we'll figure it out at 120 miles an hour. And I'm totally here for it because somehow both of these are valid. And that's the part that's easy to overlook because sitting right next to these two extremes in a class all of its own is something like the Compania T-Rex, which somehow ends up feeling like the reasonable one. And don't get it twisted, the T-Rex has more power than the FP3, it weighs less, it has more torque, it's faster 0 to 60 as well as top-end speeds, and it's got more presence than the Aptera, turning heads from a positive appreciation rather than a tentative curiosity. The T-Rex will absolutely wake you up if you get careless, but it also gives you just enough breathing room to enjoy it. And it's kind of strange to think of it as the middle ground, not trying to rewrite the laws of efficiency and not trying to test your will to live, just riding that line between control and chaos. And now, with vehicles like these entering the autocycle space, that middle ground is getting stretched in both directions, which brings up something bigger. The autocycle segment right now is kind of remarkable. It's not polished, it's not standardized, and it's definitely not predictable. And that's exactly why it matters. Because this is one of the last places where ideas like this can exist. A solar-powered commuter that might never need to be plugged in, or a street-legal, center-seat machine with a Hayabusa engine and zero interest in practicality. Machines like these don't come from massive committees trying to please everyone. They come from small teams asking very specific, slightly unhinged questions, and then actually building the answers. That kind of innovation doesn't survive in overly rigid categories. It needs space. It needs weirdness. It needs room to fail and occasionally create something brilliant. And right now, that's exactly what's happening here. This segment isn't just growing, it's experimenting in real time, which is why, honestly, it's worth paying attention to. and maybe even protecting a little. Because once everything becomes standardized, safe, and predictable, you don't get vehicles like this anymore. You just get variations of the same old ideas. So now I'm curious, where do you land on this spectrum? Are you leaning towards something like the Aptera, quietly efficient, almost self-sufficient? Or are you looking at the FP3 thinking, yeah, that seems like a reasonable way to experience time dilation? Or do you stay somewhere in the middle, where things are still fun, just slightly less life-altering? Let me know in the comments. I'm genuinely curious where people land on this one. And whether you want to cross the country on a single charge or attempt reaching Mach 12 on the track, just remember to be nice and ride safely. I'll see you on the next one.